So we are. I was like, past tense. I'm trying to go here. We're going through the book of Judges, and if you guys remember, after Joshua, the book of God raises these judges, and one by one, God empowers this judge, and he helps out with all the people, and Israel defeats wherever they're at, and the Ammonites, the Amalekites, or wherever they're at, and then they're cool for a couple of years. Then all of a sudden, the Israelites start forgetting who God is. They start praising other gods, and then they get trapped, and then you see the cycle. So it's a sin cycle, which thinking about God, they're being enslaved, and all of a sudden they ask for God, and then God liberates them. So we're going through this cycle, and all these judges that we have helped out so many people, they're Israelites and everything. But when we get to Samson, I'm like David, he was saying Samson last Sunday. When we get to Samson, he actually was a solo guy. He really didn't hang with the people. When you read about Samson, he was all to himself. And we went through the sin cycle. So let me go back and recap. Manoah and his wife, they live in the valley of Sorek. The mother is in the valley. The angel comes to the Lord, tells the wife, you're going to have a child. He's going to have the Nazarite vow. If you remember the Nazarite vow, he's going to grow his long hair. He's not going to touch anything from the vine, which is grape wine. And I don't know if anybody knows, but they actually eat the grape leaves. They make them kind of like a salad and stuff like that. So nothing that comes from the vine, or even grapes. I mean, raisins. They can't even eat raisins. So anything from the vine, they cut their hair in a vow, and they can touch nothing dead. So Samson is born. He has his Nazarite vow, and all of a sudden, the Bible hits from the time that he was supposed to be born, and then he's already full grown. So we have a big gap of his childhood, his birth, and all that kind of stuff. And it's really not important. We also have that same gap with Jesus. When you have him being born, we miss all his adolescence, and we already have him at an older age. And why is that? Because it really isn't that important. It could be information and facts, but what Jesus did, or what Samson did, that's the important part. But as I see this gap, I'm thinking, if this kid was born, right, and he's a child prodigy, I mean, super special, how would his parents would have outtaken that? Like, from the moment he was born, they're probably like, oh my gosh, you can't touch this, you can't do that. Like, they were holding him. They probably put him inside this huge bubble. Like, no, don't touch him. You can't play with the boys. You can't do this, you can't do that. So much. And it's funny because I'm sorry, babe. My brother-in-law, they just had a child, and we don't have a child yet with my wife, but it might be similar. But when you have your first child, it's like you have nothing touches it. Like, wash your hands before this, or do all this kind of stuff. And I was looking that up. I'm like, it's something that people actually do, and it's actually called precious. It's called precious firstborn syndrome. So every first time parent goes through this. It is called precious firstborn syndrome. If you Google it, it's actually a syndrome. So people you have to wash your hands, you have to do so much stuff, and yes, take care of your child and all this kind. I'm not saying don't do it, but some people go to the extreme. So I'm thinking,
pray to God before you touch my baby.
Exactly. I'm thinking if they had Samson, I mean, probably no one was to touch him but them, or to hold them, or you couldn't play with the other kids because you're part of the Nazarite vow. I'm just thinking all this. It's nothing biblical, but I'm going through, what probably Samson would have gone. So he was probably an only child. The Bible doesn't mention if he had brothers or sisters. So when I read the story of Samson, he does sound like an only child. Because all he is. So let me go back to who Samson is. And as I told you guys, Samson is like you and me in every single way. And when I ask who is Samson, what was his role? God had chosen him to liberate Israel at that time. But who Samson really is, he is the most flawed character in the book of the Judges. There's no other judge like him. He is violent. He is impulsive. He is a sex addict. He is immature, and he is a selfish man. Oh my gosh, who wants a leader like that? Who in their mind would like somebody to lead them with all these flaws? But yet, the Spirit of God seems to anoint him and use him. And with his fits, his pride, and his temper, God uses him. From his birth, he had a gift from God. Who likes gifts here? Everybody, right? Everybody loves gifts. I mean, you know, even if it's not your birthday, you know, we love gifts. My mother, she is a very hard person to gift, like, because it's funny because I mean, and I've learned this throughout the years because I would give her something and she would say thank you, love you, you know, you're my child and all this kind of stuff. But then the gift that I gave her maybe would be like set in the closet. The next year I would give her something else and then she would set it in the closet again. So throughout the years I remember like, oh, can you go find something? I would look and I'm like, hey, I gave her that. She's not using it. I'm like, wow, Mom, how would I give you a gift card? So I learned throughout the years that she was a hard person to give. What I want to say is, God has given us a gift. He has given every single one of us a gift. And we do the same thing. We probably don't use it, and we set it apart, and we put it in the closet. And we don't even let it out. We don't, at least, I mean, I remember I gave her this big Adidas bag where she can have it, and she didn't use it. I mean, at least put fruit in it. You know, we don't even try to use that gift. We put it, we set it aside, or maybe we're even using it for the wrong reasons, or for things that are not even for the Lord. Now imagine if he gave you a gift and you actually did use it for him and for his glory and for what he wants you to do for it. That would be so awesome because you know what? It comes with his blessing because it comes from him and it's to bless others. So going back to Samson, he had this gift. He had the gift of strength. So going back to Samson, to who he was. Now in this time, Samson, going back to all his flaws, he is very impulsive, sensual. His senses control him. Who knows people, or even themselves, I mean, that their senses control him. I'm talking about like anger, like when you have, to every action, there's a reaction. So if somebody gets you mad, you even get madder. Or if somebody hits you or something happens, to every action. This was Samson. He reacted and he did without considering or reflecting. And that was impulsiveness. With the impulsiveness, his weakness, Samson was unteachable. And he was dismissive of his parental counsel and authority, which goes later on. But as Samson was impulsive and unteachable, he was the leader. And guess what? What he was at that time reflected what Israel was at that time. Samson and Israel, Samson's spiritual state was the same state that Israel was in. Israel was impulsive and sensual. They reacted and did what they thought that was right. They were violent. All these things that Samson had, the city, not the city, but the actual people of Israel was going through at this very time. Let me start reading from the Bible so you wouldn't think that I'm talking about it. But now that I painted a picture of who Samson is, as I read down, you will find and see why he is like this. So when we go to Judges chapter 14, Samson went down to Timnah and saw a young Philistine woman there. Now, where Samson lived, if we have the map, Samson lived in, was it Zora? Lived in the valley of Zora, Camp Zora and Dan. And, and Timnah was only 5 miles away up. Can you get the map?
Oh.
Just to give a little. So as we have Timnah. This one doesn't have it. Yeah,
right here.
Yeah, Timnah, and where Zora was at, where that little red dot, the rock of Edom's close there, there's Zora. So it's 5 miles away. So Samson went down to Timnah, and he saw a young Philistine woman there. So he went back and told his father and his mother, I have seen a young Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as a wife. Dude, you tell your parents something like that? See, back in the days, it was common to, if you were a man and you found a woman, you know, of your town or whatever, you would go with your parents. And there's this thing called a dowry. I don't know if you guys know what that is. A dowry is you go with your parents and you have either cattle or land, and you offer this to the woman, and you would also enter in it was most like a business transaction. So what you had, you would offer, and you would go with the wife, and you would also enter in their business of cattle or whatever, and they would offer some back too. So it was an interaction. So when Norma and I were dating, at the 4th, 5th month, she asked me to go ask her parents if we could be boyfriend and girlfriend. I was like, sure, yeah, I've done that. I go and you know, all prepped up and all, like you know, hey, you know, I really like your daughter. I'm really thinking of marrying her one day. Can we go out and all this kind of stuff? And you know, it was all cool. You know, because they seeked me. They saw the person I was. They're like, oh man, this guy's gonna give me beautiful grandchildren. So they accepted me. So they accepted me. We were. So after this, I knew that the time was coming to where I actually have to ask for marriage. And nowadays, you know, it's all that rose, you know, you go down on your knees and you give that little ring and all that kind of stuff, and you give it to her. But to Norma, she kind of hinted that she didn't want it solo. She wanted it with her family. She wanted me to actually go with my parents to her parents to actually ask for her, not her hand in marriage, but to ask for, at her hand in marriage, but not then and there. Because what I did, I asked for her hand in marriage, and then I actually went and gave her the ring and everything right then and there, which was a surprise to her. So that was something kind of weird to me, but at the same time, it's the culture which she grew up in, where the man had to go and ask for the hand in marriage. Now the same thing is happening back here, only it's a bigger transaction because it's mainly business and land. Everything is fruitful. So you would bring to the table what you had and who you were, and then there would be a transaction back. So this is what Samson is doing at that time. So Samson goes to Timnah. He saw a young Philistine woman. Okay, wait, Samson is an Israelite, and he's gonna marry a Philistine woman. Okay, let's go back to the judges. What had happened? God sent the Israelites out, and he said, I'm gonna give you this land, and it's all gonna be yours. Canaan is gonna all be yours, and you're gonna conquer it. And what are you gonna do? Anything, everybody there, you're gonna drive out, you're gonna kill, you're gonna take them away, you know, because that land is yours. But do not intermarry, do not bind, do not do anything with them. Kill them or drive them out. Well, what is happening here? He's actually intermarrying, they're interlacing. But the reason why God did that was because they had other gods. They had other rituals. They had other different cultures, to where when the Israelites would unite with them, Israelite would lose its own culture. And they would bind with them and start praising other gods and not the only God that there was there. So That's why God allowed them to actually drive them all out. So we have Samson marrying a Philistine woman. Okay, let's remember, Samson is a Nazarite. He has a Nazarite vow. He's supposed to be holy. Samson's supposed to marry a holy woman. He's supposed to marry an Israelite, probably even of his own tribe of Dan, because there's 12 tribes, and they would want him to marry one of his own tribe and actually intermarry somebody. But he's not. He's marrying a Philistine. He went back and told his father and his mother, I have seen a young Philistine woman in Timnah. Get her for me as a wife. Man, dude. If I had gone and went to my wife's parents and like, I want her as a wife. Yeah, give her to me. I mean, that it just sounds crazy. So we see the type of person Samson is with that. But his father and mother said to him, can't you find a young woman among your relatives? Among any of our people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines? Because their culture and their vow, uncircumcised Philistines for a wife. And look what Samson says. But Samson told his father, get her for me because I want her. Wow. Wow. Back in the 10 Commandments, it says, honor your father and your mother. For some reason, your parents know better than what you think. Your parents have lived more than us. So they know, they've been around the block. I remember my mom telling me, where you've been, I've walked 5 times. And I'm like, wow. And she's not talking about physically walk. She's like, I've been there and back 5 times. And I'm like, wow. So I learned to actually listen to my mother. She says, you know, do this, do that, do here. But why? Because she knows. Because parents actually know. And as a kid, when we get to that, what, 16, 17, 18, you don't know nothing. You don't even know how to get on the internet. But parents know.
With age comes wisdom.
With age comes wisdom. Exactly, exactly. So the parents of Samson are actually telling him, don't intermarry. Honor me because you are of a Nazarite vow. Samson doesn't care. He says, get her for me because I want her. Man, dude. Now his father and mother did not know that this was from the Lord, who was seeking an occasion against the Philistines at the time, because the Philistines were ruling over Israel. So the Philistines, they were conquering Israel, and they were conquering all these Israelite towns. They're going through Gad. They're probably going through what is this Gad here and Judah, Dan, and they're conquering down here, and they're going and they're conquering and they're conquering. Now, what is happening with these marriages at this time with the Philistine and Israelites? They're starting to intermingle, interrace, and this is one thing that God said not to do. And I love chapter 4, verse 4, because it says, the Lord who was seeking an occasion against the Philistines at that time, the Philistines were ruling over Israel. He was seeking an occasion against them. So with this verse, we are seeing that God is actually using Samson to actually break up that relationship. But what is Samson doing? He's trying to interlace. Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother. He came to the vineyards of Timnah, and suddenly a young lion came roaring. He's in a vineyard, a place where he's not supposed to be, and all of a sudden, a young lion came roaring. Has anybody ever seen lion attacks? I was like looking so much at that, and I was like, and because of the movies that, all these movies that I saw, they have depicted Samson actually choking the lion, and then they have him like, you know, ripping him up, and I'm like, how did Samson actually do it? You know, the Bible doesn't say, it only says that the Spirit of the Lord took control of him, and he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as he might have torn a young goat. Who's torn a young goat here? I mean, I've never, you know, when I tear young goats, you know, I use a knife. No, but how would Samson have done that? And I was looking at these lion videos, and it's funny because Lauren's like, what are you doing? That's not part of your study. I'm like, oh, look, this lion, he just ate a guy. So, and I'm wondering how would have Samson actually would have torn that lion? And one of the interesting facts that I saw is that the teeth of the lion on their sides are like scissors, and they don't hit like ours. They cut in like that. So I don't know if anybody has ever seen a lion like eat a piece of flesh, but they eat it sideways because they're just chomping off and they're ripping that flesh off. So Samson couldn't have grabbed them on this side or like that, you know. It was just my just brain just like wondering how. Probably would have grabbed them and would have ripped them like a young goat. I don't know how they ripped young goats at that time. I don't know how he ripped that lion. The thing is that the Bible says that he did. He rips that lion, sets him aside. The Spirit of the Lord took control of him. He tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as he might have torn a young goat. But he did not tell his father or mother what he had done. Another one, a part of his Nazarite vow was not to touch anything dead. He killed his lion. If he would have went and told his parents, hey, I just killed a lion, they were like, what did you do? No, the Lord's about to, I don't know, a lightning might strike. No, why'd you, you know, he didn't tell his parents. Then he went and spoke to the woman because Samson wanted her. Man, there he goes. And that's what I'm talking about. He is a person that's just, what he wants, he goes for. And he's blindsided and just goes for that. Even with the counsel of his parents, or even the counsel of the Lord. Then he went and spoke to the woman because Samson wanted her. After some time, he returned to get her. He left the road to see the lion's carcass, and there was a swarm of bees with the honey in the carcass. So he's coming back, he sees the lion, and it's already dead, probably with meat, or it's just the bones, and he sees a beehive right inside. And a swarm of bees are inside, the bees with honey in the carcass. He scooped up some honey into his hands and ate it. It as he went along. When he returned to his father and mother, he gave some to them. They ate it, but he did not tell them that he had scooped the honey from the lion's carcass. Why didn't he tell them? Because they wouldn't accept it. They wouldn't have taken it because it came out of the lion's carcass. You have to remember, back when the angel came to Samson's mother, the angel told the mother, you're going to have to consecrate yourself also. You know, you're going to, before the child is born, you're going to not touch anything, dead, not have anything from the vine. And she didn't say anything about the hair, but I'm thinking probably she just followed it and she just never did, just to take care of Samson at the same time, to kind of give an example of what he had to do as a child to grow up. And here we go, Samson giving her something that was impure at that time to them. His father went to visit the woman, and Samson prepared a feast. There was there as young men were accustomed to do. When the Philistines saw him, they brought 30 men to accompany him. We see Samson here going with his parents, going to get that woman, about to get married. And what do the Philistines do? Hey, you're going to have 30 bridegrooms, all right? You're going to have 15 on this side, 15 on this side, Samson, because you're probably big or whatever. So you're going to have 15 bridesmen on each side, and you're going to get married. Couldn't Samson brought his own bridegroom or something like that? The Bible doesn't say. But the Philistine said, since you don't have anybody or you don't have any family, we're going to give you 30, all right? So they're probably sitting down, and Samson, probably with some wine, I don't know, he says, let me tell you a riddle. And I'm thinking Samson's probably trying to intermingle, trying to talk to these people, like, become friends. He says, Samson said to them, if you can explain to me during 7 days of the feast and figure out, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. Now, what the linen garments are the undergarments that they would use that was probably made out of silk. And then he would give you 30 changes of clothes, which would be the ones that go on top. which would be the ones that are all nice and neat. It would be like the Armani or the Gucci or, you know, all that kind of stuff. So besides the undergarments, he would give him another change. So he said, but if you can explain to me, you must give me 30 linen garments, 30 changes of clothes. Tell us your riddle, they replied. Let's hear. So he said to them, out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. That sounds familiar, right? We already know, because we already read it. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. So as we read it, we already know. They don't know yet. After 3 days, they were unable to explain the riddle. And on the 4th day, they said to Samson's wife, persuade your husband to explain the riddle to us, or we will burn you and your father's household to death. Did you invite us here to rob us? So Samson's wife came in weeping and said, you hate me. You don't love me. Have you ever heard this from your significant other one time? You hate me. You don't love me. You told my people the riddle, but haven't explained it to me. Look, he said, I haven't even explained it to my father or mother. So why should I explain it to you? She wept the rest of the 7 days of the feast, and then the last, on the 7th day, he explained it to her. Because she nagged him so much. You could see that he, you know, he probably really loved her, and he kind of held it, but told her. Because she nagged him so much. So, but nagging is better, okay, guys? Then she explained it to her people. Oh, man, that's why she wanted to know. On the 7th day before the sunset, the men of the city said to him, what is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? And then Samson reacted. He's like, that's what I just told her, and now I'm hearing it. He's like, man, I just married her, and she's already betraying me. Like, you know, and the Bible doesn't say, but I'm thinking he gets mad at her, he gets mad at them, and then he goes, if you hadn't plowed, and this version says with my young cow, others say heifer, and what this is a Jewish idiom. Has anybody ever seen when oxen are plowing? You know, they have the yoke on top and they have the plow going in. So he's not calling her a heifer. He's just talking it because she's a feminine version of probably an oxen. But if they hadn't plowed or dug into what his riddle or what he wanted, they wouldn't have found out. So if anybody reads it and it's like, oh yeah, I can call my wife heifer. No. It's a Jewish idiom. You wouldn't know my riddle now. So then, verse 19, it says, the Spirit of the Lord took control of him, and he went down to Ashkelon. Now, from Timnah to Ashkelon is around 30 miles. The Bible doesn't mention how he got there, walking on a horse or whatever. But he goes to Ashkelon and killed 30 of their men. So, because of the bet, he said, I'm going to give you 30 undergarments and 30 garments. He goes and he probably killed these 30 people. He killed them all, and at the same time, just to kill them all, I mean, nobody's going to be like, oh, we're going to die. No, you're probably going to have a riot. What I'm seeing, what I'm persuading is that God is actually using Samson at this time to actually go against the Philistines and actually battle them. So Samson, because of his riddle, because of what he is trying to be arrogant with, he goes down to Ashkelon and starts battling against another town of the Philistines. And he's killing Philistines. Something that God probably already had him to use to actually separate them from the Philistines. So he went down to Ashkelon, killed 30 of their men. He stripped them and gave their clothes to those who he had explained the riddle. So he goes down to Ashkelon, 30 miles down, goes 30 miles back up, and just gives it to them. And enraged, Samson returned to his father's house. Wow, okay. So Samson went down, he killed, he came back, gave the garments, and he went back to his father's house. Well, where's his wife right here? What happened to his wife? Didn't he just get married? Wouldn't he have gone back to his wife? Or, hey, honey, I'm home? No. Samson is mad at this time. Samson probably didn't want to see her, because it says, enraged, Samson returned to his father's house. and his wife was given to one of the men who had accompanied him. So one of the 15 of 15, one of those guys was given to his wife. And Samson didn't even know at that time. In verse 3, verse 4, God was seeking an occasion against the Philistines. And he was using actually Samson to pick a fight. In verse 3, the Bible commands us not to enter in unequal yokes. Now, let me explain this. Exodus 34, 14 and 15, God said, do not make treaty or choose their daughters as wives. But why? Because the binding and uniting would cause Israel to weaken their loyalty to God. Because God would lose all centrality in life. You see, you have the people of God, and they're coming in this land, and then they're starting to intermingle, and they have other gods. So then their other gods and my God, we're gonna, either their God or our God, and we're gonna go together, and then we're gonna have children, and then we're just gonna allow them to worship whatever God they want. But is that what God wanted? God said, I am your God. I am the God of your people, of your generation, and you are to show me to your children and to all the generation. Because when God loses centrality in life and that intimate relationship with that someone who does not understand, it should that God is the mainspring and motivation for everything you do. Christ becomes less centered. And one thing as a Christian, as a person that God has shown his love, is that he's everything. Christ is everything. He has helped me out in so many different ways in every aspect. We have so many things that happen with my wife, and I always have to tell her, you know what? God will provide. To me, God has been a provider. God, even though we don't have nothing, it always shows us that He gives us, and we don't have to worry about anything. So God, for me, has been my provider, and we don't have to work for that. Now, besides being a provider, He has been our strength. He has been so many things. And God says, I am there, and I want you to hold on to that because I am your God. And when you lose that, and you forget who He is and what He can do for you, or what He has done for you, you're lost. Because you forget about Him. Paul talks about dividing us. He says in 2 Corinthians 6:14, what does darkness have to do with light? What does God have to do with idols? In 2 Corinthians 6:14, it says, what does Batman have to do with Joker? And it's because you lose the centrality of life with God. You actually lose that bond that you have with God, the one that you had, and you enter with somebody else that doesn't have it, and it's fine. You have to always look for God, and that's what He wanted for His people at this time. In chapter 15, so now Samson's gift. Was he using his gift? Was he using that strength that God had given to him for the purpose that he wanted? Was Samson the judge that was going to lead the people? He was destined to do it, but was he doing it? Was he using his gift at that time to liberate the Israelites, to fight the Philistines, to actually strengthen the people and help them? No, he wasn't. We see a Samson that has his gift and uses it for his own benefit, for his own good. He's not hiding it, like I said, inside the closet, but he's using it for different benefits. Now imagine if he would have done all this to the Philistines. It would have been so much better. They would have probably backed off all the Philistines, and Israel probably would have been bigger. We see later King David actually unites all the kingdoms and makes it bigger, and he drives off all these Philistines and everything. And if Samson would have done that, he probably would have done that. He probably would have done what King David did. If he would use his gifts. And like I say, God has given us a gift. And sometimes we don't use it. for the purpose that he wants it. And you probably use it for a different purpose. Or you probably don't even use it. I heard you guys, if you don't even know what your gift is, ask him. Ask God, what is my gift? What can I help you in? And God is willing and loving, and he will tell you at that time. Let's go back to chapter 15. Later, during the wheat harvest, Samson took a young goat as a gift and visited his wife. Whoa, he has a wife now, huh? So, let's go back to the story of Samson. So, Samson goes back to his house. Now he's like, man, I miss my wife. I think I'm married. So, he goes back to during the wheat harvest. Now, during the wheat harvest, what they do is all the crops is all dried out. It's all dried out. So they take away the grain and all the barley and all whatever they have. So it's all they take it out. They put it into these big grain what's it called, the grain inside all these big like barns, like big grain barns, and then they hold it, and then they have festivals. So everything is dried. So during the wheat harvest, Samson took a young goat as a gift and visited his wife. And then he says, I want to go to my wife in her room, he said. But the father would not let him enter. Why? Because the father already gave her away. I was sure you hated her, said the father. So I gave her to one of the men who accompanied you. Isn't her young sister more beautiful than she is? Why don't take her instead? Because Samson had already gone to the father, and they had already made that business transaction, so he owed her a daughter. So he's like, oh man, I'm sorry, I gave the wife that you married. How about take her sister instead? You know, she's prettier, she's younger. Like, you don't want her? Samson said, this time, I won't be responsible when I harm the Philistines. So he didn't care. He's like, you know what? Forget this, forget you. I'm going after every Philistine right now. He says, so he went out and caught 300 foxes. He took, do we have the fox picture? Yeah. He took, I like that one. He caught 300 foxes. He took torches, turned the fox's tail to tail, and put the torch between each pair of the tails. And I really like this picture because it really depicts on how it would be. Now, the Bible doesn't mention Samson being fast. It mentions Samson being superhuman strength, right? But, dude, to catch a fox, you know, I was looking up how fast they actually run. They run 45 miles per hour. So Samson probably could have been fast and probably caught 300 foxes just to light them on fire. And once you have the fox's tail to tail, they're not going to go all in a straight line. They're not going to go in a straight line. They're going to try to divert, and whoever pulls and all this kind of stuff. So Samson planned out and actually burning the wheat harvest and everything there was. This time I won't be responsible when I harm the Philistines. Then he ignited the torches, released the foxes into the standing grain of the Philistines. He burned up the piles of grain that were standing in the grain as well, and the vineyards and the olive groves. So he's actually taken down all their food, all the vineyard, all the barley, all their the olives and everything. He's getting back at them. Then the Philistines asked, who did this? They were told it was Samson, the Timnite's son-in-law, because he's taken Samson's wife and given her to another man. So then the Philistines went to her and her father, and they burned them to death. Man, like their own people, burned them to death. Then Samson said, because you did this, I swear that I won't rest until I've taken vengeance on you. In verse 8 it says, he tore them limb to limb with a great slaughter. Now I looked up what was limb to limb, and there was another Jewish idiom which talks about like, and what the Bible says is a great slaughter. That's what it meant. You know, he tore them, and with a great slaughter he went down and stayed in the cave at the rock of Edom. So he goes back down, he tries to go visit his wife all over again, and what do they say? Oh, we burned your wife, we burned your father-in-law, we even burned that girl that you were going to marry again. We burned her too. Samson, you know, mad, did all this, and whatchamacallit, goes to a cave and hides. The Philistines went up, camped in Judah, and raided Lehi. So, as I was saying, the Philistines had three major cities. It was Ashdod, Gaza is more down here. You had Zorah and Timnah, where he was at right here, and then right where this is the trials of Samson, right here, with trials of Samson. That's where actually where Judah was at. So we have the Philistines going into the town of Judah, right there where that tent is at, exactly. And then they camped in Judah and raided Lehi. Now, Lehi in Hebrew means heights. So the Philistines, where they were at, it was all plain ground. And where all that up there was all heights. So where the Hebrews or the Israelites were at, they were in the valley. They all were in the valley, and they had all Philistines on the ground. So then they started coming up as in war. They started going up and started raiding. So once they raid this one, they're going to keep on going. So they raided Lehi, which was in the heights. So the men of Judah said, "We have attacked us." So the men of Judah said, "Why have you attacked us?" They replied, "We have come to arrest Samson and pay him back for what he did to us." So what is happening now? Now that Samson has made war against the Philistines, he went to Ashkelon, he killed all these men, and now he burned all the wheat barley, he killed more men over there, and now he went to go hide, and now the Philistine army is starting to attack Israel. And they're saying, "Why are you attacking us?" "Well, we were friends, we worship the Baals. We have your wives. We're all together. Why are you doing this to us?" And they says, "Because of Samson, to pay him back for what he did." So then 3,000 men of Judah, listen to this, 3,000 men of Judah went to the cave at the rock of Edom, and they asked Samson, "Don't you realize that the Philistines rule over us? What have you done?" The town of Judah, or the town of Judah, not the city, the people of Judah, they were already comfortable in who they were with the Philistines. Dan already was comfortable who they were with. They were comfortable in worshiping the Baals. They were comfortable in what the world had and gave us. They didn't want war with the Philistines. And what did God tell them? No, you can't intermingle. You have to stay true to me. You have to do what I say, because when you intermingle, you're going to lose me. So 3,000 men of Judah, Samson's own people, not of his tribe, but his own people, Israelites of Judah, go up. And Samson is a judge. So they come and they tie up his own judge. And they ask him, "What have you done right now?" "I have done to them what they did to me." Man, I tell you, Samson is just like me. Like, it's just like a one thing. It's like he's like a man's man. He's like, "Yeah, I did it." What? He's like, "I've done to them what they did to me." There's no interaction. There's no like, yeah, you know what? They did this and this, and all this kind of stuff. He's just like, hey, I did it, man. He answered. They said to him, "We've come to arrest you and hand you over to the Philistines." Because why? We want peace with them. We want to live with them. We want to live with all these people. We are different. We are set apart. But right now, we want to have peace with them. We want to live. We want to have the daughters, and we want to give over our daughters. We want to be all different kinds of people, all meshed up together. So we're going to give you over. Samson said, "Swear to me that yourselves that you won't kill me." No, they said, "We won't kill you, but we will tie you up securely and hand you over to them." So they tied him up with 200 ropes and led him away with the rock. When he came to Lehi, the Philistines came to meet him shouting. So they went back up to the mountain of Lehi. And guess what happens? The Spirit of the Lord took control of Samson. The ropes on his arms that were wrapped around became like burnt glass. His bonds fell off his wrists. He found a fresh jawbone of a donkey. Remember, he can't touch anything dead. Even though he's been killing, he grabs the jawbone of a donkey, reached out his hand, took it, and killed 1,000 men with it. And it's funny because with the riddle that he had before, he has another riddle. So we see he's kind of somewhat poetic. Samson says, and I'll say it as a song, with the jawbone of a donkey, I have piled them heap. With the jawbone of a donkey, I've killed 1,000 men. Deep. No, it doesn't say deep, right? But he likes to show off what he does. When he finished speaking, he threw away the jawbone and named that place Ramath Lehi. It's already named Lehi, meaning the heights. Ramath just means jawbone. So this heights of the jawbone. So he tells the people, you know what? I'm going to rename this place because I'm the judge. It's going to be Jawbone Heights. And they're like, okay, all right, you know. He became very thirsty and called out to the Lord. Oh my gosh. He finally talks to the Lord. So he has a Nazarite vow. He is chosen as a judge. But he never talks to him until now. And what does Samson tell the Lord? You have accomplished this great victory through your servant. Yeah, you did everything through me. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised? God, I just did all this for you. Hey, I'm going to die. What you going to do? Dude, oh my gosh. Samson, he's like the best judge, huh? Man. But God listens to him. And God split a hollow place in the ground at Lehi. Water came out of it. After Samson drank, his strength returned and he revived. This is why he named the place En-Hakor, which means the spring of him who called, which is in Lehi to this day. He judged Israel 20 years in the days of the Philistines. Chapter 14 and 15. What do we learn from what Samson did and did not do and kept on doing? Samson is not the judge we hoped he would be. He is not taking out the people. The Philistines had settled and they lived normal lives in Israel. And why? Because these Philistines were more advanced, more knowledgeable, and they had new war. But at the same time, they had other gods. And something in the judge cycle is missing here. What is it? What is missing in the judge cycle with Samson, in the Samson saga or story? The judge cycle is they're being oppressed, they're calling out to Israel, comes a savior, and then God liberates them. What is happening in this cycle? They're being oppressed. Are they calling out to God? No. Israel is not calling out for rescue from these oppressors. There is no resistance to their enslavement. They have accommodated themselves. They have been comfortable. They're comfortable slaves at this time. They adopted and adapted to the values, the idols, and to the Philistine way. Really. These Israelites probably wanted and were eager to marry in this society of the Philistines. Probably was an essential to the culture. And because they were intermingling, what was happening? What was happening to Israel as they were intermingling with the Philistines? They were on the brink of extinction. Now you have to remember, God gave them a promise before that you have to drive everybody out. So you will be my people, but they're not doing it. So they're actually being extinct because they're intermingling. God's plan with the covenant and his people to always be with them. And Samson was a tool in God's hand for that separation. Later on, you'll see Samson actually separated. But what God was doing with Samson, with all his flaws, with everything that he was actually using Samson to separate the Israelites from the Philistines. He was putting a roadblock. He was putting a wall against them. He's saying, you are not Philistines. You are my people. Nowadays, what happens? As Christians, as believers of God, do we have that wall of separation? Are we being the same as the Philistines or as the world? Or are we being God's people? Are we being the chosen people? Are we being the light of the world? Are we having that separation? See, God used Samson at that time to separate. And then God sends Jesus also to separate us. But do we see a separation? Are we trying to intermingle? God's plan and covenant with his people to always be with them. He fulfills his promise, not only in spite of sin, but of sin. As also Jesus, when he came down, he came to separate. He came to separate and adjoin at the same time. So when Jesus comes down, he came to separate and at the same time adjoin. Do you understand that? All the Gentiles, the people that weren't Jewish or Israelites or all this time, he came to separate and tell them you're doing it wrong. This is not how you do it. But since you're doing it wrong, I'm going to add on all these others. So I'm going to separate and I'm going to adjoin at the same time, which is us. Or anybody that's Jewish here, I mean, you know, you're at it. But it's us as Gentiles, or that we weren't in this covenant. We have been so comfortable in this separation, this holiness, because what holiness is to be set apart. This holiness or this separation is going to clash with the culture. When God calls you, he separates you for him. God says, you are mine. You are my people. I have called you out to be different, a different race. But we're not actually separated. We have been called out from darkness to light. We have been called out to be salt, to be flavor. What does salt do? It gives flavor. What kind of flavor do we give in life? We give hope. But it doesn't come from us. It comes from within us. It comes from Jesus. Jesus is our hope. To have absolute distinction, that was what God wanted. Distinction from wickedness. And as we see, there's so much wickedness in this world. And we need to learn to separate and be different. I'm going to read Matthew 13, 47 to 51. Because in the end times, this was spoken by Jesus. Jesus spoke in parables. And when I read down this parable, it was so clear, but at the same time so wow. Matthew 13, 47. It's the parable of the net. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a large net thrown into the sea. And it collected every kind of fish. And when it was full, they dragged it ashore. They sat down and gathered the good fish into containers, but threw out the worthless ones. So it will be at the end of the age. The angels will go out and separate the evil people from the righteous and throw them into the blazing furnace, into the place where they will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. God called us to be separate people, to be a separate nation, just as he called Israel to be separate. In chapter 14, we saw that he gives you a gift. He also gave you that gift of separation. Are you using that? Are you using your talents and your gift for him? Are you using God and reading and seeing the separation that he has for us? See, when Jesus came, he said, I didn't come to unite, I came to separate. And it says, mother will be against father, daughter will be against the brother. And it talks all about this, but he's not talking about family feud here. He's talking about in the belief in who they are. Because when you know who you are in Christ, when you read the Bible and you see that you are a separate person and that you are love and you are light, you're not going to do what the world tells you or wickedness. You're not going to clash with this culture. And yes, culture has us so much and it influences us so much, but we're not going to clash as in to where it's going to lead us and take us astray. We are going to be a separate people. We are going to be holy people, holy to God, and God's going to show us how we are going to be separate with him. Through your talents, God will use you. But But we have to be a separate nation for God. We have to be separate. To please God and find favor in His kingdom. Because many are called and few are chosen. He calls you, He's calling you. And He's calling you right now. And He will keep on calling you until the day that He's not going to be here no more. Are you chosen? I ended with this. Be separate with God. Ask Him for His gifts. Look for Him. Be separate. Look for your gifts. God has given you a gift of life, and He's going to give you a gift of talents. He's going to give you so much gifts, and are you going to use it for your own benefit as Samson did? Or are you going to use it for Him so you can be blessed and bless others at the same time? God will use you. Amen, guys.